Today I have come to one of my absolute favourite libraries so that I can chat to you about how to get your book in your local library. This is one of my favourite libraries in the whole wide world. I don't get to come here nearly as often as I would like, so it is such a treat to be able to do so. It was only built a couple of years ago and it was just so gorgeous and spacious, and it's a complete treat. Hola amigos, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emma Bennet and I am the author of 7 contemporary romance novels and 1 children's picture book. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am here in one of my local libraries. It is the Gaia Brecon Library and they happen to stock some of my books, which is lovely, but it is no coincidence because I actually got in touch with the library, as I did with many other libraries with my books, and asked them if they would be able to stock them, and that's what I would like to speak to you about today. So obviously libraries buy books, they buy many books every year, but the books which tend to automatically get purchased by libraries are those by bigger authors with bigger publishers. So what about independent and self-published authors? Libraries, I have found, are so brilliant at being so welcoming to authors, especially local authors, and they will often buy your book if you get in touch with them and ask. But it can be a little bit of a palaver at times just because of the way that the libraries are organised. Usually libraries buy their books through the big book distributors. So this may be an option for you if you're an independent author, because it might be that with your distribution your books are actually available from one of the book distributors. But if not, you can still contact your library and they still might be able to buy your book. There are 2 ways that they could go about this. Either they can buy it directly through wherever you sell your book, like Amazon. I've had libraries order directly from Amazon to get my books, or they put in an order with me. I order either author copies or buy copies actually from Amazon itself and then have it delivered to the library and invoice them, and they pay me for those books. The great thing about getting your books in libraries is, well, first of all, if the library buys a copy of your book or several copies of your book, then you will get the royalties from the sale of that book. But then every time your book is borrowed from the library, you get a very small amount of money. I think it's about 7p in the UK for public lending. And that can really add up, and it gets paid out once a year, and it's a really nice little extra for authors. It's also a great way for readers to be able to find out about you and your books. They might not have seen your book before, or they might not have the money to buy a load of new books from the bookstore or from Amazon. So this way they can discover you and maybe go on and either borrow or buy more books by you. Libraries in the UK, at least, are organised in kind of groups, like county-wide libraries, and there's usually a main library, and within that main library there is usually a buyer who is in charge of what gets bought by the libraries. So the 2 ways that you can go about contacting a library to get your book stocked by them is either to go to your local library and speak to your local librarian, who will then make a note of it, hopefully, and get in touch with the buyer and explain that they think that it would be a good idea to buy your book. Or another way, and I've done both of them actually, and both have been successful, is to email the library and ask them for the email address or telephone number of the buyer so that you can get in touch with them directly. It really helps as well if you say that you're a local author, because loads of libraries want to support local authors and are more than happy not only to buy your book but also to put it quite prominently on display and maybe even organise an author event or a signing, which are both really great ways to get the word out about you and your book. It can be useful to have a little bit of a press pack ready to send with any emails that you send inquiring about the library purchasing copies of your books. And this doesn't have to be very complicated at all. I do mine in Canva. It tends to be a picture of the cover of the book and then some information about the book and about you, the cost of the book, most importantly what kind of genre is, where they would shelf it in the library, and you can just attach that to any email that you send so that the librarian has lots of extra information. The other great thing about contacting the actual main buyer for the libraries is that they will often order in several copies of your book, not just one. They might order in, say, 5 or 6 copies, and they will then be distributed around the different libraries in the area, so that you're making more sales and there's more chance that people will be able to borrow them. And of course, the most important thing to remember if your book is bought by the library and it does end up in the library is it is perfectly within your author right to make sure that every time you go into the library that you just remove Philippa Gregory and put yours face out. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that there has been something in this video that you have found helpful. If you did, do consider subscribing if you haven't already. Make sure that you like and comment and boop that notification bell, and I will catch you in the next one.